So I wanted to do this second video on here basically to show a lot of things that I wasn't able to show the first time, really, because I didn't know a lot of the, a lot of the things, but a lot of cool little interesting things about these. So you pick up these little fuses, and then you can go to these white junction boxes, and it actually reveals a lot of either the collections, which are these things in blue. It'll reveal the other fuses that you need, and you need 3 of the fuses to get 1 junction box. And it also reveals the number of men and how they move, and it really helps you out when you're taking over these rackets, which I'm about to do. Now, I've done quite a bit of these, and I'll go ahead and show you my kill list. In fact, I've only got 1 more lieutenant, and then I'll have to kill that capo, and then I'll be able to kill Sal. I've got all the assets pretty much, and it's really, really nice to have that. I'm at just 2 away from basically the max, what they call earn, with Vito there. But going back to here, I think it plays a lot like the original Godfather game, which is originally on the PS2, but they ported it to the PS3 eventually. But what you do, and these are the 2 that I gave to Cassandra so far. She starts out with the hollows, but then you start assigning others as you take over these districts from Sal. I've given 3 to Vito so far, and then this one right here I'm actually going to give to the Irishman. Right here, the Tickfall Harbor. I think I'm going to give South Downs to Vito as well, and then I'm going to give the Bayou to Cassandra, and that should give me the maximum, what they call earn. Now, earn, as you can see, I don't have it right there, but you basically do these deliveries for each of the rackets that they have. So that one's not at max. That one is. But you basically do those deliveries to there. It increases your, what they call kickback. And it's money that they give to you throughout the game. It's at about an hour interval. But here we are, and we are going to basically get rid of this smuggling operation. And I'm going to show you a little bit about the stealth play here as well. So here's this guy coming. And I'm on the PS4, and if you hit the circle button whenever he walks in, Lincoln Clay is kind of a badass Vietnam-style killing. Now, a lot of these guys will drop extra ammo, a little bit of cash. It's not a whole lot as compared to the actual cash icon you're going to see usually on these maps. And as you can see in my lower right-hand corner there is some cash thing. You can usually find anywhere. I've actually found up to about 10 grand.
What? Pops Holland smuggling racket. I want to know about it.
Now you can either kill these guys or keep them as your racket. If you keep them in their racket, you actually make more money throughout. I'm going to go ahead and spare him because I've just been sparing pretty much everybody. Boom! Now he will actually call basically reinforcements, and if he actually is able to make that call, you're not in a good situation, because these guys there's like 10 guys that'll end up showing up in a car basically to kill you, and it's not fun. So this is the cash that I was talking about. You usually just find these piles of cash. That was worth about $8.75.
I got a beat on him. We all get a piece of him, but I'm first.
Now there's one more. When the enemy thing there, when it's open instead of like a solid red, that means they're actually a floor below or above you. And I think he's trying to come up the stairs right now. Yeah, let's see if I can get him. Hey, bud. Now there's these little triangle icons on the screen as well, and that means if you destroy those, you have to do so much damage, as you can see in the top left corner of my screen. You have to do so much damage to a racket to basically draw out the lieutenant. Basically, he doesn't really care until it reaches basically a certain point, and then you basically get the task to kill him. Let's go ahead. That was basically a bulletproof vest. Let's go ahead and get. Oh, there's still another guy down here. Jeez. just keep coming. I'll stealth kill this guy too.
Over here now.
Now these, let's see, there's more cash in here, but there's these little medicine cabinets, and you basically get adrenaline shots is what it is in this game. Now I've upgraded my character, and you can do that by going to this screen. You hold down your L1 key. Now the markers at the very top mean that somebody's going to actually pay, such as this one right here. I get a free cut the phone line so that nobody can call for reinforcements. This is a really cool one. This gal will come and basically pick up any cash and deposit it in your safe for you. And then when you upgrade that even further, she'll go around and pick up all of your kickbacks, so you don't have to drive to each location. It's really pretty awesome. And then this guy will actually refill your ammo, your grenades. He has body armor and even some adrenaline shots that you can buy from him. And you just really call him, and they'll come right on the street basically to you. So, okay, so these, you can either light them on fire. Let's go ahead and use a grenade.
It's only a matter of time till I find you. Hit him from the other side. Get me out of here.
And this should be, I did a couple of other ones earlier as far as this particular mission, and you'll find that a lot of them are pretty much the exact same. You're basically destroying these little items, whatever it may be. There's prostitution rings, there's illegal like film kind of things that I saw one time, you know, all these different kinds of rackets, and you basically are destroying whatever their income is. Let's go ahead and do a Molotov on this one. Now in the very bottom, if I hold down the L1 key, you can see at the very bottom I have different types of grenades. So these I've never really understood. They're like these flaming betties. They don't really do anything. They just kind of draw the enemy out, I guess. I don't really ever use them. Then there's C4, the grenades, and then the flame one that I just have is like a Molotov. And people will actually throw those at you, and it's kind of cool. If you shoot them just in time, they'll drop it. You can cause them to light themselves on fire. There's actually a trophy for that achievement. So here you can see we actually have the kickbacks available, so I'll probably just call the Betty gal to have her come do that. Then there's also these optional missions which you can do. They either increase your kind of standing with the particular ally you have here, or they will either increase your earn so that you get higher kickback. So that was it on that one. So looks like we need to go. So this is actually the person in charge. Once we kill this guy, we'll draw out basically the lieutenant, and then the capo will get pissed, and then we'll able to get that. And then you take down the rackets, and then once all of those are basically assigned... Oh, there's another guy over here in there. Once all of those districts and capos and everybody are dead, you can then assign them to a person of your choosing. There's really no rhyme or reason behind just by... All I've been doing is basically assigning the districts as they're kind of adjacent to each other already, so...
Let's try over there. Run! Run!
I picked this really, really nice car up. Like, stole it from one of these lieutenants' like warehouses. That's really cool. So these green things that are showing on the map, those are actually the fuses. If I so chose to pick them up, I'll go ahead and show you that real quick, I guess. Normally, you can find them by like dumpsters. And then once you have that junction box, which I already do, you already hack that. and you put your fuses in, it'll highlight them for you, so you don't have to really search for them. Now, if I didn't have that highlighted, they would still be showing up for me. That you just have to be really, really close to them to see them. So I have enough to like hack 2 more. So the best strategy too with those fuses, and let me see. So it'd be a really good idea. I'm going to go ahead and hack this one first before I go into this building to take over the last thing. And the reason why is you want to know as much as you can about that area. So you want to know, it really helps to know the guys that are inside. Like I said, if I didn't have that, it wouldn't show every movement that the enemy is making within the building. You have to be a lot closer. But this, I can see exactly how many guys are inside and more easily take it out. It's a really good soundtrack on this game, although I don't think it'll come through on the gameplay recording, because I remember trying to do that with Grand Theft Auto 5 and the actual music would not come over, probably due to copyright reasons, but it does have a really, really good soundtrack, like the radio that you listen to. Looks like we're going to this little island. There's a lot of guys over there. Good God. There's like 20 of them. Alright. Ooh, I hit that trailer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you another little perk of this game that you get as you basically get more favor and more what they call earn with your underbosses, which is basically your allies throughout this game. And you get Cassandra, Vito, and Burke, which is that Irish guy I was talking about earlier. So this, you basically want to get that green part as small as you can. And then this little arrow comes. Kind of a little bit silly, but it's not the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But like I said, it takes 3 of your fuses in there. It looks like there was another. I'm going to go ahead and grab this since we're right here. But when I go to this other area, I'm basically going to call in a favor from one of Vito's perks. And you can have enforcers come in. And I've actually upgraded them. The original ones, they're pretty good, but their health is kind of low, and their weapons don't do as much damage. So that's the racket I'm actually trying to get rid of, is that smuggling racket there. But once you upgrade the enforcers, they're really, really awesome. It's basically, I want to say it's like 3 guys that come in, basically help you out. I'd say overall, from playing this game, it's very, very good. They could use a patch or 2, basically on some of the things I've seen. I've seen some missing audio when you go to kill like an informant or like some of that, and you kind of just have to go ahead and hit the button if you already know what you've been doing, because you either hit the circle or the square to kill them. And since I already knew that, I kind of did it. But sometimes the words won't come up. But honestly, other than that, it's a pretty complete game. So you can, like I was talking about earlier, the markers, they will allow you to do a lot of things for free. This one I will have to pay for, but it's going to be worth the $5,000.
On our way.
You're welcome to some before you head out.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll show you this real quick too, but I can call the arms dealer and he just comes in like a van. And then I can buy things from him, and that is actually where you would also upgrade things, like you can upgrade your car. Let me go ahead and show that.
See anything you need?
If I can get in here.
Show me what you got.
So I can refill my ammo. I can refill my explosives. Actually, let me go ahead and do that because I don't believe... This is that screaming Zimmy I was talking about. It just does a cloud of smoke, and it's kind of stupid. Here you can actually upgrade like suspension. There was armor. You can make your tires bulletproof, which is awesome, because then whenever, I mean, police and like anybody else, they will shoot out your tires, and it's like hard as shit to like try to navigate through. Those adrenaline shots, like I was talking about, is your health. I actually have 4 health bars, but you start out with 2, and then I can, of course, get a bulletproof vest.
You're dead. You're dead. I ain't bleeding, motherfucker. That was goddamn slick, I tell you. Everybody get.
Now, these guys can die. They have regular health, kind of like
Fuck me.
pretty much anybody else, so they will die if they are shot up and things like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and use one of these since I've got another adrenaline medicine cabinet there.
Fuck me. I'm bleeding. Devil got you now, motherfucker. He ain't going nowhere.
Drop that ugly so-and-so.
Now, killing informants or racket bosses, as this one would be called, does a lot of damage on its own, so you don't have to worry about destroying every single thing. In fact, a lot of times you'll end up where you don't even have to basically finish doing any of these rackets because you have done enough damage already. You can't do any more damage than the predetermined, you know, whatever it may be. But it is nice. I would recommend going ahead. If you've already got the maximum damage, you can still go to a lot of those places. And it's actually well worth it because a lot of times you'll be able to get a ton of money. Like I went into this taxi cab they were running drugs out of, and I was able to pick up, I want to say it was like 20 grand just from that. Even though I already had all the damage I needed.
Think fast, bitch.
So there he just dropped his grenade. I made him drop that. Okay, let's... Oh. The aiming is a little off in this game, in my opinion. I always use my pistol because I don't want to waste my, like, good ammo, basically. So whenever it says talk to, there it's Pablo there. He was the one that actually gave us this mission to help him out in this particular section of this district.
Maybe I should
and
look over
now
there.
that we've actually been able to do that,
The kids joining the party.
we can go back and talk to him. He will basically complete our objective, and we'll be able to kill the leader. Normally, there's these little notes, and it's kind of shows you the mindset of the Mafia. It's just crazy. And they're always like, you know, shut your mouth or I'm going to kill you kind of thing. Or take your money and run. And it's just kind of eye-opening. All right, so now that we have done all the damage that we need to do... And if you want to ever holster your weapon, because people will call the cops, or if you're running by a cop, they will basically arrest you if you have your gun just waving out in the open street. Probably just like in real life, but you do want to holster that, and you just go to, you hit your L1, and you can see holster weapon will show up, and it's just a square button after that. All right, let's get my car. Some of the cool things you can do, you can actually like drift. Woo! I think there's a trophy for like drifting for 5 consecutive seconds. I actually got that one on accident. Get one of the cars that I'll have to see if I can point one out. More of these like really square boxy cars, and I just did it on accident. I was just driving around, and it just naturally is like a real shitty car that just can't handle the road. I was able to get that, and then I want to say there's one for like doing a complete 180 without hitting cars. That's a pretty easy trophy to gain there as well. Then there's another one. It's actually not consecutive, but there is one for driving 120 miles an hour or greater for 20 seconds. It's not consecutive, I found. So I was doing it in like spurts because there's not that many stretches of road that are like completely flat or basically completely straight for you to actually do that. So it is actually a little difficult. And you have to find a car that's able to do it. Because not all cars can go that fascinating.
Any more cargo out to Cuba.
So they always have this warning here. I've actually done all the racket objectives, but like I said, once you get enough damage, you can actually skip all the other minor little quests that they give you. There's usually like 10 objectives, like, hey, go to this place and smash this and talk to this informant, but we've actually done everything, so I'm going to go ahead and
somehow
continue.
managed to piss off both the communists and the gangsters. Word is Pops Holland is seriously fucked thanks to you.
Best way to make a crook squirm is to hurt his money.
Huh, yeah. I heard Frank Pagani told Pops to get his ass back to the freight yard. Pops isn't going anywhere until you're dealt with. I understand he's a hard motherfucker. He's a survivor.
Thanks for looking out, Pablo. But I dealt with a lot worse than Pops.
So I believe this particular chapter will basically end up killing one of the named characters, Frank Pagani. And he is... Where'd my car go? He's one of the lieutenants that I was talking about earlier. Once you kill all of them, it exposes the capos. And killing them is usually extremely difficult. Usually, I'm talking like 20 to 30 minutes of nothing but killing guys through like a huge warehouse kind of a thing. I always bust open those gates. Nobody usually seems to mind. So a lot of times the stealth play, you can actually just run right up to these guys and hit and just kind of tap circle there. Oh shit, the sentry was ordered. Hope you guys get to see the glory of... Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Cassandra told me to reach out. I certainly appreciate some help with phones.
Yeah, she gave me a heads up. Whatever you need, consider it
Otherwise, if I didn't do that right now, there's like literally, I want to say like 2 cars full of guys, so it'd be like 8 guys, and they don't hide behind cover. They literally like run at you like full speed, kind of a thing. It is not cool. Now, sometimes it's in your best interest to try and go stealth because then you're not alerting everybody, especially on these bigger warehouse kind of things. And then you can pick up, you can actually switch your gun. I have one of the better guns as far as what I like. I like a good balance between capacity and damage. So I have that right now, so I'm going to go ahead and keep mine. But you can swap yours out. And they have like sniper. You can only carry 1 heavy weapon and 1 handgun at a time.
It's gonna blow!
So that's usually a good strategy to kill multiple guys in the same kind of area there. We were able to take down 3 guys with 1 grenade. And normally, I like too, there's some missions where you have to blow up cars and things like that that are easily like flammable. And that actually works out really, really well to Let's see if I can get a lot of shooting. But it works out really, really well because that thing, whenever they explode, they actually do like kind of what I consider like a splash damage, if you will. And you can actually usually kill a lot of guys with just one grenade.
Couldn't have gotten far.
Thankfully, all these guys have the same ammo that I have. Alright, I'm gonna try to find some stairs. Now, the cool thing about those green arrows that or the green circles that you can see on my screen there is it shows you if something is upstairs or downstairs, basically relative to you. Actually,
I'll take care of this. Follow my lead, boys. Y'all can stop looking. What?
I don't know why the guy just stood there. But thank you. But as you can see, that arrow is pointing up, so that does mean we need to go upstairs to get those. Usually it can be either health, it can be body armor, it can be money. In this case, it is body armor and health. Which works out well because mine was out. This is a scoped rifle here if I wanted to switch that up. Normally they have like some really, really good type, something that usually would help you. So like that scoped rifle, if you're more of a range type of guy and want to take them out at distance, they'll have that. Let's go ahead and... Somebody's coming. Like I said earlier, some of these guys drop a little bit of cash, but it's nowhere kind of where you would need to get into the game. Let's see. We need to go probably upstairs.
That didn't look right.
And those blue dots that you're seeing on that map there, just for a second, those are usually like collectibles. Those can be either hot rod magazines or there are these like Playboy magazines or stuff like that, and surprisingly you can like, it's like a legit magazine from the 60s. If that's your kind of thing. But they don't actually, from what I've seen, they don't actually really do anything. It's just kind of one of those fun things if you happen to like collecting, adding, I don't know, doing extra stuff. Okay, so there's another note here. His bowels were irritable. That's funny. So we got a little doctor's note. The little blue, this is a... Okay, so this is actually the boss. Let me hold on. I won't get that. But you ever see that in the screen? It says Vargas. There are these little paintings that you can collect as well.
Go, goddammit!
Okay, so now that we have time, basically, he's just going to sit there and... We've done as much damage, basically, if you will, and now he's like kind of wounded, I guess is what I would describe it as. So now I can go ahead and pick up this money. Now what you do is you basically just hold the circle button down. Now I can kill him now and get $1,500 cash, or I can add him to my racket. It'll add $4,000 to this particular racket's income. So it's obviously better to recruit.
And I'll let you keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, fine. I'll work with you.
Real happy to hear that, Pops.
I love how he just knocks the people out. You're working for me now. Boom. So I've been assigning, like I said, so I can pick between who I want to run it. At this point, it's not permanent, but you can get these little perks. So as I can say, as you can see here, I get access to more guns, less of a recoil if I pick and give it to Cassandra. Vito's almost at basically a full health. This one I get the high impact squad though if I assign it to him, and I actually get basically a better hit squad that I was showing you earlier, those people that you can call in to come in and help. And then with Burke here, personally, I feel that Burke is probably the worst of the characters. But I've already kind of in my mind when I mapped these out, this was going to be Burke's territory. So I'm going to go ahead and assign it to him.
If we're gonna hold Tickfall Harbor, I'm gonna need some of your guys.
Good deal. You're making the right call coming to me to secure both rockets. You won't be sorry.
Now, as I said, it wasn't permanent what we did at this stage. We'll usually be meeting at like a round table. So his guys show up. This always kind of irritates me. And it was like, I just took over this whole racket by myself, and now you guys show up. But I guess better late than never. It is cool, though. Just like if you played the original Godfather, those guys will actually help you out.
Lincoln's legacy. On the one hand, he was a brutal criminal who killed God knows how many people. A new breed of monster, a prototype of criminals to come. Someone like that doesn't deserve the position history has afforded him. He should be forgotten, erased. But I also understand that Lincoln had a significant impact on the Italian mob in this city. He did what the Bureau couldn't do. He finished them.
So that guy's he gives you a little bit of background on kind of the story. It's kind of interesting to kind of hear that. But like I was saying earlier, these guys, once they take over this racket, if, let's say, a hit squad comes after you or police follow you in here, they will actually go outside and fight. It's actually really, really nice. So, they put my car in the garage. Thank you, guys.
I can't believe some of the shit we got coming out.
So this we will get, Donovan is our CIA contact. To give you a background on that, you and Lincoln served in Vietnam together. You guys were both like kind of counterintelligence kind of specialists. He got out, ended up joining the CIA, and since you guys are such good friends, he's kind of helping you out with this whole mob thing because he thinks it's pretty bad of what the mob did to you and your family. So he's been helping you out throughout that whole thing. He's got a lot of intel. He's been wiretapping and things like that. So you always go and meet him after these missions, and he'll give you the intel on what to do. He's not a playable character, and he doesn't really help you out as far as like going in and killing people or anything like that. He's just more of your intel. Sorry about that, guys. Crashing into people. He's more just like your intel, I guess, specialist is what I would call it. So that blue thing you're seeing on my screen there, that just means I'm within a cop's field of vision. There's really no reason for alarm. As long as I'm not committing crimes. Oh, am I supposed to go? It's one or the other.
I got a hit from the device you put on Frank Pagani's car, which means he's back in town. Bet he's pretty excited to make your acquaintance.
I bet he is.
Signal's clean so you can take it from here. Just use the tracker I gave you. Catch you later.
So Frank is basically going to be somewhere in this area. Actually, before I forget, this is always a good idea to have this gal come and get your cash for two different reasons. If you ever die in this game, you lose half of what is in your wallet. And the wallet is the one next to the grenade there on the bottom of my screen. The safe there with the little wagon wheel spoke looking symbol that says I have 20,000 in it now. You don't lose any money if you die from that pot. So it's always good to have that. And like I said, that gal actually goes and picks up my kickback from all those underbosses too. So I don't have to physically go there. So it's kind of nice to do that. And they won't... You basically have to pick up that cash for it to set the timer again for that kickback to refresh. It's kind of stupid in my opinion. But oh, that's kind of cool. So okay, I can see him now. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the hit squad again because
Working for Marcano used to be a life.
that's what I do.
My daddy, my uncles. They always came out whole.
Some fuckers got.
What's
You got it. We'll be around shortly.
Like I missed out on the best times. The golden age.
I love just watching these guys. Like, they just don't care at all. There's like, Leroy!
Get him the fuck off me!
Oh, is he escaping? Oh, shit.
See if you still got skills, Frank.
I did not know he was going to escape. Decided to steal this other car.
Got his head so far up his own ass. Mr. Pagani, you can't be talking like that about Mr. Marcano. Listen here, kid. My daddy robbed banks for 20 years. Taught me two things. You never snitch, and you stay loyal. But staying loyal is the thing that's gonna catch dead for us both. By that boy right there behind us. You saying I shouldn't be loyal to you? What?
Now I can hit the R1 button while I'm driving, and then I can actually shoot like his tires, and that will help me basically catch him. But he is going really, really fast.
Just focus on shooting that asshole.
I should not have let him. I didn't know he was going to run away.
Let that old man outdrive you.
Surprised nobody called the police yet. Sometimes I'll like call the police. Well, that is a really, really nice car, and I am going to take it if I can. Some guys, they don't give you a choice to whether to spare or kill. You just kind of have to kill him, and I think he's going to be one of them.
I never did anything to you.
Saw some interesting stuff back there. Counterfeit money, press. Only thing I can't figure out is the connection to Cuba.
Please. I'm all busted up inside. I need a doctor. I got a wife and 3 little girls.
Need one doctor. And you better tell me something worth hearing.
Listen, what you saw. Sal set all that up. All the money was worth of shit. Oh, had me bringing a man named Alvarez, counterfeiter who works for Castro.
He give you the plates too?
Plates? What you know? On account of robbery.
Marcano wanted the plates from the Federal Reserve. How do I find Alvarez?
How? Well, one of Tommy's guys picked him up 10, 15 minutes before you showed up.
Where are they taking him? Where? Huh?
Resuscitate him so we can talk.
I spent the last 48 years pursuing Lincoln Clay because he's a criminal. It's horrible what happened to him, but there's something. I think that when Sammy Ellis and Danny Burke were killed, it revealed who Lincoln Clay really was. A monster.
So Sammy, Ellis, and Danny, those guys that he just mentioned, you're all pretty good friends in the beginning of that game. In fact, you had just came back in the very first part of this game. You had came back from the Vietnam War, and you are basically you're just in town to tell those guys you picked a job up in California. So it is kind of crazy. I just got a trophy there.
I'm done with Frank Pagani. Poor bastard's not gonna be running anything through Tickfall Harbor again. It's our territory now.
The district's locked down just as you asked. Me and my boys are just waiting for your word to make ourselves comfortable.
You got a plan for this territory, right? That's the only reason I can think of why you wouldn't call me.
We're on a good run here, Lincoln. I see no reason anything should change. Now, not using my guys to lock down a district makes it real fucking messy if you want us to run shit, but hell, you pay me to clean up the mess.
Well,
So like I said, you assign people to these rackets as you're taking over the district, and you can assign them to whoever you want, but ultimately it becomes one person's district and one person alone. I've been assigning it to him, and I'll show you in just a second kind of my madness or my method behind my madness here. But I could switch it up and say, here you go, Vito. As you can see, I'll lose a lot of basically what they call earn. I can give it to Vito. I can also give it to Cassandra. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to Burke.
This one's all you, Burke.
You're a goddamn genius, lad.
Maybe you haven't figured this out, but patience ain't exactly one of my strong suits. Especially when you smack me across the face with your lies.
Better luck next time, I guess.
We'll talk later. Get on out of here.
So I never promised anybody any districts, but as you can see, you're never going to make everybody happy in that particular scenario. Somebody's always, basically, one person wants everything is how it's going to be, but I've already got the map already laid out in my head of how I want it. But they don't, well, wait.
Intended to fuck all of you. Christ, look what he did to Vito. He murdered your family. The only way to make that right is by killing every cocksucker who's ever looked at that piece of shit. Give me some of that bourbon.
According to the guy, Marcano couldn't print the money himself, so he had a Cuban counterfeiter named Alvarez brought in. What do we know about Sal Thomas?
Isn't the kind of guy who shits where he eats, so his rackets are pretty low-key. He runs a sports book, he has a place where he stores his contracts.
Tommy's got to know that I'm coming after Alvarez, so he's probably got him holed up in or near one of those places. One way or another, I'll get my hands on him. I'll be damned if I let Marcano bring a single fucking dollar from one of those places.
So in the very, very beginning of this game, you actually rob a bank with Sal Marcano, and then as you can see here, he ends up backstabbing you. But kind of back to the districts there. Now that exposed the capo I was talking about there. But back to the districts, I'll go ahead and show you here. I already had, like I said, this all mapped out. I wanted to give these three territories, I'm kind of keeping them all together so that they're not strung out all over the place. That was kind of my method or madness. I'm going to give South Downs probably to Vito, and then I'm going to give, like I said, the Bayou to Cassandra. Now, they do get upset, but it's not. It's just kind of empty. But I remember when Burke, the guy that I just gave the last racket to, or district, like he was getting pissed because I was giving everybody these, you know, districts, and he was like, what the hell? If you don't give me a district, I'll be really pissed, and all this kind of stuff. But it's just kind of empty threats. Like, as long as you're evening everything out, people are pretty much fine. I think that'll do it for this particular video. So it looks like we are going after Tommy Marcano. These are the two. Whenever you get these, you'll basically activate those missions, and then a bunch of little things will pop up that will expose the racket. You'll usually talk to an informant. You usually have to gather a little bit of intel to be able to find out different things, to be able to get to the lieutenant and all that kind of stuff. But that'll do it for this video. I hope that it was helpful, and I appreciate you for watching.